Shivers, The Enchanted Attic by M.D. Spencer. Chapter 15. That night the music began again. The cello wailed its sorrowful song. The music began softly, but grew louder and louder until Nicole was certain other people in the house must be hearing it too. But no one stirred. Maybe she had gone crazy, she thought. Surely, losing your mind would feel something like this. Hearing things no one else heard. Being terrified of things no one else would even believe existed. Nicole crept to the head of her bed, scrunched herself into the corner, and cried. But this time she cried more in anger than in sorrow. Whoever, whatever, was playing that music knew she had found the key to the attic and was trying to scare her off. That made her mad. Whatever it was didn't realize that it was dealing with the new Nicole, not the scaredy cat of days gone by. She pulled her knees to her chest, wrapped her arms around them, and tried to sleep sitting up with her back wedged into the corner. Then she heard another noise. This was not a solo any longer. Mingled now with the cello was the rolling rhythm of a drum. It was being played military style. Brat-tat-tat-tat, brat-tat-tat-tat, brat-brat, brat-tat-tat-tat. It sounded like the drumming she had heard when she had seen soldiers march in parades. The drummer was not keeping time with the cello player. Each was playing his own music, with no attention to the other. The mournful moan of the cello continued, slow and soulful, punctuated by the sharp and rapid brat-tat-tat of the drum. The strange, disconnected music echoed louder and louder in Nicole's ears until she thought her head would burst. And still no one else in the family stirred. Nicole hugged her knees and cried herself to sleep. The big gold key gleamed in the glare of the flashlight. "Point it at the keyhole, dummy, not the key," Nicole hissed. Casey did as she was told. Nicole slid the key into the lock and gave it a turn. The lock clicked. The door started to slide open. Nicole had had second thoughts about not exposing her sister to danger. After all, she decided, Casey was very mature, considering she was only 7. And what were sisters for, if not to support each other in times of need? Besides, Casey was the one who had been so determined to open the door in the first place, working the lock with the clasp of her barrette. If she wanted to find out what was in there, who was Nicole to deprive her of that experience? Together, the girls leaned on the thick wooden door. It yielded to their weight and creaked open. Beyond it, they saw nothing. The attic was completely cloaked in darkness. There seemed to be no windows, nor even any cracks in the wall to let in the slightest ray of light. Casey shone the flashlight into the room. The beam bored a tunnel in the blackness. Stepping carefully, the girls entered the room. Their footsteps echoed in the silence. The air was musty, as if no one had been in the room for years. Casey moved the beam of light slowly around the room. Something hanging from the wall caught their eyes. Casey let the light linger on it. It was an old wedding dress, white with frills at the neck. Just beyond the dress, on a pair of wooden pegs that stuck out from the wall, An ancient musket was mounted. Beyond that, they saw what appeared to be a window, covered by thick blankets that were nailed to the frame so tightly that not a speck of light leaked through. And beyond that, in the flashlight's beam, a sword gleamed sharp and dangerous. Beyond that, a framed document. Looking closer, Nicole saw that it was a college degree from Harvard, dated June 15th, 1891. It bore the name Henry Fowler. Casey shone the light toward the middle of the room, sweeping the beam across the floor from side to side. The floor, wooden and dusty, lay empty. There was no sign of any cello player, no hint of any midnight drummer. Suddenly, the beam of light happened upon a large object in the middle of the floor. The girls approached for a closer look. It was an old trunk, almost as high as Casey's waist. It was made of wood and bound with leather straps. It looked like the kind of trunk you saw in pirate movies, or maybe strapped to a stagecoach in old westerns. Nicole reached down to open it, but she could not. Casey moved the light, and they saw that the trunk was sealed fast with a huge padlock.